Okay. Angela Henderson is well known to many of us, and I'm not going to say any more.
Well, all right. For those of you who don't know, and I think most of you do, I went on a journey myself. I left Tulsa on February the 4th. It was a Monday. I worked part of the day, and then I went and met up with my travel partner, my friend Marguerite McKinney, and we got on a plane in Dallas the next day on the 5th, and we flew from Dallas to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Then we had a 3-hour layover there, so are you keeping the time? That's 17 hours. I did not sleep during any of this. I'm a side sleeper, so I can't sleep on planes. And so then we got on another plane, and we went from Dubai to New Delhi in India. 21 hours, 4-hour plane ride that time. And I was introduced to a new and very different culture that I'm going to share with you this evening. I'm going to kind of move around a little bit, but I've got some slides that I want to show you. I have lots and lots of pictures. This is just a smattering of some of the pictures that I brought back. But tonight, we're going to talk about culture and religion. And when we got to Delhi, let me back up a second. How do I know people in India? You are probably wondering. I am a member of Rotary here in Claremore, the Noon Rotary Club. We have had 2 group study exchange teams. That's a cultural exchange between Rotary districts. And they come to our country, and then we send a team to their country, okay? And so we've had 2 teams. The first team came from the Chandigarh, Dehradun, the lower Himalaya area. And they came when Jade was about 1 year old. And they stayed with us. We had 2 gentlemen that stayed with us. There were 5 total, and 2 stayed with us, 2 stayed with another family, and 1 stayed with another family in town. And while they were here, we showed them American culture, okay? The second group came in May of 2011. And this time I had great hopes of having the girls from this team. But as luck would have it, one of the host families had pets. We did not at that time. We have since become a zoo. And so we ended up with the 2 that were not allergic to pets. So those were the 2 gentlemen. And I stayed up very late one night speaking to one of the gentlemen. His name was Ritten Honda. Ritten was a young man. He was about 24 at the time. And he just shared his heart with me. He told me about his culture. He had met a young girl by the name of Swati, and he was in love with her. And in India, they have arranged marriage still. In fact, Ritten's brother, Rajat, who is pictured with the little baby there, his is an arranged marriage. Although, when his parents brought them together, and her parents brought them together, they fell in love immediately, which is just as it should be. So anyway, Ritten and I stayed up till late in the night talking about his future and what he wanted for himself. And he was very concerned that his parents weren't going to allow him to marry Swati. And I said, you need to go home and tell them what you've told me. Because if they love you as much as I think they do, they're going to want to hear what you have to say about this. So anyway, he did that. And on our way back from our vacation last year in August, late July, early August, I got a phone call from Ritten, and he said, would you come to my wedding? I'm getting married to Swati. And I said, I'll be there. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, as you will soon see. So, told you about the trip, how we got there, how I know these folks. Ritten insisted that I stay with his family, and I wanted to stay with his family because I wanted to get the true Indian experience. You're not going to get that in a hotel. That's not where you're going to learn about the culture. So we get to the house. It's actually an apartment. And can you go back one slide, please? This is Ritten's family. Now, Ritten is downstairs getting our bags at this point. But before we could go into their home, they wanted to say a prayer and a blessing before we came across the threshold. And I thought that was so sweet. So this is Asha in the middle and Ravinder. Those are Ritten's parents. And then Manisha, who is holding the little prayer vessel. It's his Pabi, his sister-in-law. And Rajat is his brother, and that is their little boy, Mehan. He was 6 months old at the time. He's getting ready to turn a year here in a few days. And he was a precious little boy. So this was the family that I stayed with, and they were lovely. And it was so nice to be greeted with a prayer. Okay, next. This is the apartment building that the Hondas live in. It is 28th State Bank Nagar in Pasham Vihar on the Punjabi Bog. This is a Punjabi Hindu family. They're delightful. I never met the inhabitants of the first floor. I'm not sure there are inhabitants of the first floor. The second floor is the Hondas, and you can see my travel partner Marguerite on the balcony there. And then up above is a Sikh Hindu family. They live upstairs. They also have a very annoying German Shepherd that barks all hours of the day and night. You can go to the next slide. This is the view down the road of their apartment area. And as you can see, it's not like our neighborhoods where, you know, the houses all kind of look the same, built about the same time. These are just a hodgepodge of apartment buildings, and they are pretty much apartment dwellers. Land in India is very, very expensive, so they build up. This is the Dilli Haat. This is the first place that we went to when we got there. And we met up with Shika Thaman, who was one of the girls on this last tour. She is so much fun. She is a little firecracker, and she is a master negotiator, let me tell you. This is a artisans market, and actually, it's kind of like our fairgrounds. They had various things there. We went by it several times. The day we went on this particular day, they had booths from every state in India that had all sorts of beautiful handmade goods, clothing, home decor, rugs, all of those things. It's amazing. And we had the best time there, Marguerite and I. We dropped a chunk of change there, let me tell you. It was beautiful things everywhere you looked from all of the different areas. And I loved it because I would say I liked something, and then Shika would go over and she'd be going with the person, you know, and then she'd come back and she'd go, okay, it's this much, is this okay, you know, and it's great. I love you. Will you come home with me? Because I really like this system of you going and making the arrangements and then me just shelling out the dough. So this is great. I'm going to pass around some of the things I got while I was there. And I hope you will note the craftsmanship of these things. It is just simply amazing. You've probably seen me wear a few of these things. I am the queen of the flat, if you haven't noticed. I love flat shoes. I don't do high heels anymore. And these flats were $8, $8 American dollars. I felt like I was robbing them, taking them. But and note this tunic and the craftsmanship of that. It was a very amazing place. Go to the next slide, please. This is my travel partner, Marguerite, and the master negotiator, Shika. Isn't she cute? She lives in Gurgaon, which is just south of India, or south of New Delhi, India. This is one of the shoe purveyors, so you can get pretty much any kind of a shoe you want. You can get them in leather, you can get them in fabrics, embroidered, sandals, whatever kind of shoe you want. This is kind of a shot down the row. You can see some of the linens that are there and for sale, lots and lots of jewelry. And what I liked about this marketplace was that you could go up to the people who actually made these things and talk to them. And they were very happy to tell you how they had made things and the craftsmanship of the things that they had gotten. And of course, they all wanted you to buy from them. So the first few stalls, I was a little unsure of myself. I wanted to see everything before I committed to anything, but it was an amazing place. Okay, this is the silk that we purchased for my sari, and I'm going to bring it tomorrow evening. I was going to try to put it on, but I'm not real sure about doing that. I had to be wrapped up in it. It's not something you just put on and, go out the door with. So Dwayne would not know what to do with me in that, although he'd like to try. So I'm not going to wear it. I'm just going to bring it and let you see what it looks like. But if you'll notice, it's just this beautiful silk. And Chanderi is an area in India, and their silks are used expressly for royalty, the saris of the royalty. And it's a real high sheen fabric, and then it has gold thread woven through the whole thing. It's just simply gorgeous. It was so funny when I found it and decided that I liked it. Shika said, "So how much would you pay for a really nice dress in America?" And I said, "Well, it would depend on the occasion, but, for a wedding, 100, 150, I'd like to get it on sale, but, somewhere in that neighborhood." So she goes over and, with the guy, beating him up. I was like, that poor guy. I feel sorry for him. And then she comes back over and she goes, "Okay, $80 American. Well, is that good?" And I'm like, is that good? That's great. $80 American. So I purchased it right there on the spot. And then I brought it back, and Asha, Ritten's mom, has a man who does all of their handiwork for them, their sewing. And so he came in and took all of our measurements, fit perfectly. This is how you get around in Delhi, sometimes, when you don't have a car. You'll note that this is a truck that is full of rice or some other, I don't even know what was in it. I asked Ritten what was in it, and he said he didn't know. But if you need a ride somewhere, you just hop on, and then you hop off whenever you need to. You're gonna hilarious. They worship cattle as a part of their religion. The cow is their mother. And so you will find them just wandering about, standing in the middle of the road. The first night when we got there, as we're turning the corner into the Punjabi Bog, there were 3 cattle standing there at the intersection, and Ritten says, that's the mayor and the council members. And I said, well, they look a little nervous because the American girls are here. So anyway, I did not eat meat for 2 weeks. I say that. I ate some mutton, which is lamb, and I didn't think I was a big fan of lamb, but it was actually quite good. So. This is at the kirtan ceremony. Now, let's talk about the Hindu religion just a little bit. It is a polytheistic religion, meaning they have many, many gods. I won't go through all of them, but just some of the key ones. There is Ganesha, and he is the elephant that you saw on one of the earlier slides. And if you've ever been to my home, there's a terracotta Ganesha that greets you when you come in the door. He's there for a reason. He's there to welcome you, and he is there for to bless everyone who comes into our home with riches or good fortune, whatever you might be needing. That's what Ganesha is there for. There is Shiva, and he is he's actually sometimes depicted as a phallic symbol. Kind of interesting. He is one of the godheads in the Hindu Trinity, known by many names. And this is a religion that believes in reincarnation. So sometimes you'll see an Indian or a Hindu god, and he'll be named several different things. There's Krishna, which you've probably heard of that god before. Rama, who is the perfect avatar. Have you heard the word avatar before? He's the perfect avatar of the supreme protector Vishnu, and an all-time favorite among Hindu deities. I'm not going to go through all of these. Those are some of the main ones. But I don't know if you really can't see it very well in this picture, but up against that far wall there are posters of all of their deities. And they had set up kind of a worship altar, a table for their deities. And you'll see that there is a candle in one of the little trays there. They have lots of fruit. They have many candies that they will put on there. Anything they want to be given back to them or to be given in lots of supply, they will show to the god. Rice is on the dish often. Marigolds. Marigolds are they're a flower that is used quite frequently in India to celebrate funerals, weddings, any kind of a celebratory event. You're going to see marigolds strung together and around the person's neck. And you can see those all over Swati. Do you see Swati in the center there? And so they are collecting money for her. They're collecting all these items. She's going to dance with some of those items in a little one of these scarves or whatever they call that. Do you see the Bangala drum there? The guy with the drum? He's hired just specifically to provide the music for this kirtan ceremony. And this is a prayer ceremony. They're praying to their gods. They're praying for his blessings, their blessings on this marriage. There is one of the aunties giving prayers. There was quite a feast after this kirtan ceremony. We ate a lot, and you're going to get to try some of these things. There's gulab jamun, those little round, they kind of look black. Somebody, I think, burnt them, but they were still good. You cannot beat a gulab jamun. They're very good. They're like a fried donut, and they're in a sugar syrup, and they're yummy. They're the devil. Really, really good. The box with the kind of triangular looking things that have the gold or the silver foil on top of them, that is kaju burfi, and you're going to get to try that. And then pakoras, which are deep fried. Excuse me, I have 5 minutes. Okay. That's not good because I'm not even halfway through. The pakoras are fried vegetables. And so, anyway, that's what all we ate. Keep going. Little street chat there. Please note that my hair was tragic during this entire trip. This is an auto rickshaw. Let me tell you about Delhi traffic. It's horrible. There are cars everywhere and these little auto rickshaws everywhere. And they wanted me to get on one of them, and I was like, I don't think so. They will take a 5-lane highway and make 7 lanes out of it, and they're all honking at each other and jockeying for position. The first day I got there from the airport, when we got to the house, the next morning when I woke up, Britton wanted to take us to exchange money, and I said, does that involve a car trip? And he said, yes, it does. And I said, I don't want to go. Can you just go get my money for me? And he did not want to do that. So anyway, I had to get in the car again. It took me about 3 days to get used to it. And I just told him, I said, I would be in jail if I drove like this in America. This is really bad. They don't even pay attention to the lines on the road. They drive right down the middle of the lines. And they're all honking at each other like crazy. These are Ritten's maternal aunts in the car. And an aunt on your mom's side is called Masi. So he has 2 aunts, so they had to figure something out because they couldn't both be Masi. So the older one is Masi, and the second one is Masi 2, or just C2. This is a Gurdwara. This is a Sikh Hindu temple, and I don't have time to explain to you about the Sikh Hindus. Just know they wear the turbans on their heads. They're just a little bit different than the regular Hindu folks. This is in Lodi Gardens, which is a Mughal garden. This is an area, In about the middle 1400s, the Mughals came into India, and they set up shop there. There's a palm tree there. Isn't that a beautiful pathway through the park? And the sun was setting. It was just gorgeous. This is one of the Lodi Mughal mosques. And there's another one. These are ruins. These date from 1450, and a fleur-de-lis pattern that is just absolutely gorgeous, and that's the original paint on that. This is Bada Gumbad. It is a mosque in Lodi Gardens as well. These are all Mughal, which means Arab. So these are Muslim. This is inside. That little walkway was inside Bada Gumbad. And these decorations that are on the archways, those are verses of the Quran that have been carved into it. There's another mosque across the way called Shish Gumbad, and it's right back behind, and there's my friend taking pictures inside. These were just amazing ruins. You feel like you're just in a place where there's such history. This was a very bad place for me to go. This was Bikaner Vala. This is the sweet shop, and we eat a lot of sweets at Indian weddings. There's laddu, there is gulab jamun, there's Kaju burfi, there's almond marzipan, just amazing treats. I think I gained a ton while I was there. Another cow being fed. Then we got in a car and we drove from Delhi to Dehradun, which is in the lower Himalayas. And there we met up with my friend Satish. He is the head chef to the governor of Uttarakhand in India, and that is his wife Anjali. If I'm looking a little yuck in the picture, I think that's when I got my parasite that I brought back with me. Wasn't feeling too great. Missed the train. I was supposed to take a train the day earlier, and I wasn't feeling well. This is Dehradun. You can't see it. It was really misty and kind of rainy while we were there. It was 35 degrees, raining, and I was freezing. And you can kind of see the mountains off in the distance. These are the lower Himalayas. Next slide. My friend Satish took me to a temple. He wanted me to see the temple where they go and worship. This is Sai Baba. This is one of their gurus that they really attend to. He's gone now, but he was a teacher that's very revered in this area. And you'll note he is dressed for the weather. He has a hat on, he has a comforter, and he has some flowers and some fruit and some other things around him. And it was interesting to me as I walked into the temple, there's Sai Baba on this side, and then over on this wall, there was a Bible and a picture of Jesus. And then on this wall over here was the Quran and emblems from the Muslim religion. And I asked my friend Satish about it, and he says, we have people from all religions in our country, and we want everyone to be comfortable when they come here. So it was a really neat space. I felt very welcomed in that space. In fact, it was interesting to me, they were interested in my religion just as much as I was interested in their religion. This is Mussoorie. It is up in the mountains, and it's kind of like Eureka Springs, kind of a neat area. And this is how I got to Mussoorie. Do you see the roads that are snaking around the mountains there? These are the lower Himalayas, folks. The lower Himalayas. I haven't even seen the higher Himalayas or the upper Himalayas. But I'm going to go back there because my friend Aparna is from there and I want to see them. If this is the lower Himalayas, I gotta see the upper Himalayas. So, isn't that amazing? This is the drive up there. Those are hand-stacked rocks. This is one of the villages as you're going up into the mountains. Have you ever heard of terrace gardening before? Terrace farming? Note the terraces. Can you see them on the hillside there? I'd never seen that before. This This is a rather dark picture. It was kind of rainy and cold and yuck, but my friend Satish and I and my friend Aparna, and you can't see her beautiful face, she is a college professor in Shimla, and she is a lot of fun. She is a real go-getter, let me tell you. She will tell you. This is up close, and it looks like it's completely white marble. It's not really, but it's absolutely beautiful. This is all marble. And then they have inlay of precious stones and semi-precious stones in there. There's the back side of it. This was our tour guide, and he thought that I was a celebrity. He thought I was Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't get it. I know I had my hair cut short, but I didn't have it cut that short. And what was so funny is we were coming around the back side of the Taj Mahal, and this group of women, and this was quite an item of debate with him because he thought I was lying to him and telling him that I was not a celebrity when I really was. And so these women come up behind me, and they're getting their pictures taken with me, and they're giggling, and my friend is laughing hysterically, and he goes, "I knew it! I knew you were a celebrity!" And I was like, "I'm not. I run a nonprofit in Claremore, Oklahoma." So anyway, we had to have his picture because he was too much fun. Monkeys. This is a monkey that steals your popcorn, your ice cream cone, and your camera. Be careful of them. This is the Agra Fort. It is attached through underground tunnels to the Red Fort that is in Delhi. I did not discover those. I don't go underground. But anyway, it's a huge fortress. This is the Lotus Temple. How many of you have heard of the Baha'i religion? Ever heard of Baha'i? This is the Baha'i temple, and we were there during their morning prayer service, and it was beautiful. There were readings from the Baha'i scriptures, the Quran, and also from the Bible, and then they sang their prayers, and it was just a beautiful space to worship in. This is a Hindu temple, not far from there. There's my friend Marguerite. You had to take your shoes off. You're on holy ground. So we went and retrieved our shoes when we got finished. Look at this dahlia. Is that not amazing? The flowers were huge in India. I mean, roses with heads this big. Just amazing. And I couldn't take pictures of all of them. This is the Rashtrapati Bhavan. This is the presidential palace in Delhi. It is only open. The gardens on the grounds are only open during February, so we came right at the right time. And there were just walls of flowers. It was just gorgeous. That's the India Gate. You can see it from Rashtrapati Bhavan. And there it is, up close. This was a really bad tourist attraction. I was tired of shopping by that time. And then this lady is Bridget. She is an Irish expat, and she is best friends with Ritten's grandmother, his maternal grandmother, and she knew Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She ran a Catholic school there in Delhi. And just a really neat lady. And she took us around and showed us the Lotus Temple and also the Mughal gardens at the Presidential Palace. So, and then she fixed us a lovely picnic lunch. So anyway, I don't have time to answer questions. I think we're headed next into the Family Life Center for some tea and some dessert. And I will try to answer any questions that you have at that time. And then I'll stick around so that you all can ask me some more questions.